Barely 18 days after the state of emergency was declared in Rivers State by President Bola Tinubu, a lot has actually happened in the state. Well, this morning we're discussing political impact of Rivers State state of emergency in Nigeria. Our guest joins us via Zoom, Mr. Ken Agala, a strategic communication expert, and we are going to dig deep into the subject matter. Good morning, Mr. Ken. Trust you can hear us clearly.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Good morning. All right, Ken, how would you describe the administration of Vice Admiral Ibok Ete, retired since he was sworn in as the administrator in Rivers State following the state of emergency?
Well, he's just coming in. I mean, he probably has, the military has never had any kind of training in governance. Their major focus has always been on security, which is external security most times. And in this case, it's a never mind, it's a maritime security. So, the major thing he's there is for to keep the peace. So I think he's doing that. I mean, the psychology of him having a military background might be what is keeping the peace in check at the moment.
All right, Ken, do you see any sort of intervention that might, break the duration of the state of emergency, or do you see this particular, state, going through with 6 months, the stipulated 6 months? But then, beyond 6 months, what are some of the scenarios you feel might play out in River State?
Well, I mean, I expect the major actors to start reaching across board and making the peace. I've always told people who are involved and close to the stakeholders that look, this is an opportunity for us to go to the drawing board and keep the peace. Because if that doesn't happen, then we might expect the term emergency to stay longer. But at the moment, you could see that the major actors are not talking as tough as they were talking before. You could see that the Minister of FCT has kept off the press for a long time, and even the governor is seeing people in his house and saying how depressive this can be at the moment. I think reality has dawned on both parties, and I think it presents an opportunity for them to go back and start talking. In this case, um, I've told people that there's no way the winner takes it all can can work out in a situation where somebody controls about 27 members of the assembly and the other person is the governor. In governance, one thing we have forgotten in Nigeria, maybe because of our recent history, whereby governors are always controlling the assembly, we have forgotten that the governance is actually separated into three pillars, which is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And these are all equal arms of government. So in this case, there is a check, there is a spirit of checks and balances between the three of them. So in a case where one party is hell bent on taking a position, government will shut down. So I see them coming to negotiate and maybe get to a situation where maybe there will either power sharing or maybe a kind of a dialogue that will bring back peace in the state.
All right, thank you very much. You did mention that the stakeholders in River State aren't talking tough. Do you mind, expanding on that particular, statement? Are you referring to political stakeholders? Who are those stakeholders, and how tough would you prefer they would talk regarding this issue?
Yes, when I mean the stakeholders, it could range from the political um, stakeholders and even the non-state actors. You could see that during the crisis, there were a lot of tough talks from the politician and even the non-state actors, like those from the critics who were issuing statements about blowing up pipelines, and then also groups like the General Youth Congress and the General National Congress. I mean, I saw a recent video by the IYC president, and he was saying clearly that look, if the approach we took would have taken a different approach because I mean we threatened war and we were not ready for war. So these are all actors that you could see that the 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 constant threats and non-threats from everybody has actually calmed down a bit.
All right, how do you think all these that have been playing out, how do you think is going to affect the political landscape or ecosystem in Rivers State, especially the PDP, the ruling party in Rivers State? How would it, affect them adversely or otherwise? What are your thoughts?
Well, as it stands right now, due to the attempt by the sitting governor and let me say his political godfather to fight to finish, you could see that most of their structures are being depleted. And you could see, and when I tell people this fight is not even about money, it's about political survival. It's about political structure. A politician in Nigeria cannot survive without a structure. Yeah, and these structures are the men and women who do the legwork from the world level to the local government level. And these structures are to be maintained. And you could understand that in Nigeria, especially in Rivers State politics, positions like even a cook in government house are, are all part of the structure because these are people who will be appointed based on the fact that on election day they can influence things from their various localities. So at the end of the day, you could see that there was a family, one political family headed by the minister of the FCT, but you could see gradually that it is being depleted and cut into two, and other people are coming in to join forces with the sitting governor. So, party-wise, I do not think that the PDP will ever remain the same in the state again.
All right, it's interesting that you alluded to the fact that the state of emergency would actually tug at the, political fiber of the PDP in River State. Some other, school of thought has actually come out to say that the emergency rule is also a ploy to capture the economic heartbeat, of the state. You think that is a possibility, and why would you think that if that is the case?
Well, there's been this argument that insecurity um, is existing in several states in the country and why River State. It's a very simple answer. The, the issue is value. The state is very important for this Nigerian survival. If the oil stops flowing, the country will grind to a halt, and nobody will not put more attention to a place where its value comes from. So if you're talking about those who say that the state is about capturing the state resources, it's about maintaining the state, it's about maintaining the country. Because without River State and the oil flowing, Nigeria will go into a halt and there will be no country. So it's about value. The state is the same thing goes to our other states like Akwa Ibom, who have a huge chunk of resources that the country is being run on. So at the end of the day, you see that wherever there's more value, the country tends to put more attention in such places. I mean, there's insecurity in Katsina State, there's insecurity in a few states, and in this case also, you will also look at the fact that the insecurity is being kind of instigated or being dragged in by the political stakeholders, like from the governor to the House of Assembly members. These people are all involved. So it's a quite different thing from the other places in the country where there is insecurity. In this place, in this place, this is a place state where that produces about 35% of the resources that the country has. So it's not about trying to come and steal the resources. It's about maintaining the flow and letting the country to keep running.
All right, let's focus our beam on the recent turn of events with the head of service, the former head of service, who came out to grant a particular interview. It was alleged that from the video, he was being told what to say. Now, do you think with all this playing out and allegations, against Fubara on economic issues, misappropriation from the head of service, you think this is a direct, attack or an instigation, if I may borrow that word, from, political powers to make sure that Sim Fubara doesn't return to River State as the governor? What do you make of the allegations by the, former head of service of River State?
Well, I do not think that the governor has lost his immunity. But what I know is that um, a few months ago, some of us saw the Supreme Court make a major decision. Few years ago, I think there was this perpetual injunction that was gotten by Dr. Peter Odeli, that the EFCC cannot investigate the finance of the state. And few weeks ago, that particular injunction was overruled and overturned by the Supreme Court. I think the major target is to expose some of the things that have been going on in the state, and you could see that the average River State, the average governor in Nigeria, by the time you build a satellite, you are bound to find a few things. So maybe these are just part of the ongoing fight. Like I said before, this is a part of the background fights that are going on at the moment. And I think the best thing is still for the governor and the strange governor to go and reconcile.
All right, you did say that what's going on in River State in terms of the state of emergency is actually going to negatively affect the structure of the PDP in the state. However, do you see it working for the ruling party APC? And if you do, could you tell us how this, might actually pan out for the APC in view of 2027 elections?
Well, I mean, of course, it is not in secret that the Minister of the FCT is working for the current APC government. I mean, we saw that play out in the last election. He clearly said it. I am going to support Bola Ahmed Tinubu on principle. And at the moment, as a serving minister, it's clear that he probably wants to remain there because you can hear him in the last 15 Abalama telling people, look, we are with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So what I think is that this is also part of the next election. And you can see clearly that people are aligning already. You can see new people are joining forces with both parties. At the end of the day, I think this is also maybe a strategy to make sure that the governor does not upturn the entire structure of the state, because you could see. I mean, I always tell people that at the moment, what the Minister of FCT is doing is fighting for survival, because if his structure in River State is taken away from him, he will be useless to those in Abuja. So the fight in River State is actually a fight for his survival politically.
All right, I would actually want you to throw more light on your last statement that the fight in River State is actually a fight for survival for Wike. Could you throw more
Yeah.
light on that expression?
Well, the Minister of FCT is currently in that position because of the kind of political structure he has in River State. We all know that River State was a swing state in the last election that made the president win the election. So at the end of the day, he is there as Minister of FCT, one of the most you know important ministries. I mean, because of his political clout. I mean, and if you could say, yeah, yet we all know that. I mean, the FCT minister is somebody who is very passionate about projects and all that. But the key thing is this: if he can no longer contribute politically to the party, he will become um, almost useless. And you could see that in the South South, there are also some other political stakeholders that are also very strong, like the Senate president. And these people are all in a quiet way trying to know who is more powerful in the entire South South. If the governor um, succeeds in this battle, he has not it's no longer just depleted the structure of the Minister of the FCT. He has actually upturned his structure entirely. Because you could see that most of those that he's using to as his key men, like maybe his chief of staff, are actually people who worked with the former minister before. So at the end of the day, you could see that he has divided the family or the structure of the Minister of FCT, and more people are joining him. So if he succeeds in this, where do you think the Minister of FCT will stand in Abuja? So what is happening actually is a fight for the survival of the political structure of the Minister of FCT. He has he's like a politician who has a structure being threatened. It's almost like a doctor who's having his license for practice taken away because these people know nothing else but politics, and you could see that they are still aspiring for more offices in future. So when you take away their structure, you could see them fighting uh, in every way to survive.
All right. Before we get back to the issue between Wike and Fubara, political structure of Wike, and then the state, River State, I need you to say something about the recent call for proofs and suspension of elected officers in River State by Vice Admiral Obot Ete. Now, do you think he is doing the right thing, or do you think he's playing out a script? Do you think it would add to, the destruction, for want of a better word, of the PDP structure? Because some people are calling for, stabilization or stability of the River State, and they're actually, clamping down on his call for probes and suspension, of elected officers. What do you think of that move of the administrator?
But of course, if he was appointed there, he was not elected by the people. So he will actually do the bid of those who give him that mandate. He's a military man, and he's been used to taking orders all his life. So what he's doing there is actually, playing the script. And this is probably a political strategy to clip some wings of some key elements around the governor, who are probably some of them who are some will be whipped into line, and some of them will be coerced into submission. And you could see already it is already happening. I mean, people, I mean, in a system, there are always people who are who might be quietly disgruntled by one or two things. You could see that like the head of service who has come out to turn coat. In such situations, you will see a lot of these things happen. People will come out to turn coat, especially when there's pressure in the state. And of a truth, in Nigeria today, you could say what is going on is a triumph of politics. You could see that most of the only thing that works today in Nigeria is politics. And a lot of people depend on politics and political office holders and part of the structures for survival. When it is frozen and taken away, they will start changing sides.
All right, thank you very much. You know, you had actually said earlier that stakeholders in River State, they have not actually, put their, you know, put much effort or action into, what is happening. They've not really thrown their weight behind what is happening. They've not really shown that they can actually, turn the tides in River State. Now, my question to you will be, what would you have those stakeholders and opposition parties do? What would it be? What are the things they should do to actually see how to turn the tides in River State such that eventually things don't swing towards, the Wike faction, if I'm allowed to use that, and his political structures in River State? What would you have stakeholders and opposition parties do?
First of all, they have to turn down the rhetorics. The threats and counter threats should actually be toned down, because the truth is that it will not work. And I've told people that you can't sustain a government by threatening the central government. It's not going to work. First of all, when they do that, then it will be, of course, it will be time to bring everybody to a round table. The governor has often and always said that the Minister of FCT is his boss. And I think he knows how to reach one or two people who are close to him or who cannot say no to him to give him audience. I think that is where the issues will start being resolved. The major stakeholders, you could see that some of them already have been politicized long ago. Some of them have even been vocal. Some have even gone to courts to try to sway one party that you are in charge, you will win an order. Remember that this issue was actually brought to the president's attention some months ago, and the stakeholders were all there. The former governors, the assembly members, and national rulers, they were all there in Aso Rock with the president, the minister of FCT, and the NSA. They reached these same resolutions. It was read out to everybody, and everybody agreed that this is the way forward. But remember that as soon as they left there, some people started saying, "Oh, you could not do this. It's political. It's not constitutional," and they went to court. The irony is that the courts have actually brought everybody back to the same situation that they tried to reach politically before. So you could see that at the end of the day, it is still going back to that same drawing board to say, okay, how do we now resolve this issue?
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ken Agala, for your input in this subject matter. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for still staying with us. Don't go anywhere. We want to hear from you, so we invite you to go on over to our social media platforms at YouTube, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, at Signature TV Official. We want to hear your thoughts. Go like, comment, share. Tell your friends to tell their friends.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.